We will get into it. Our first game here, we had Dallas 33 over the Carolina Panthers 10. Dallas moves to 7-3, Carolina 1-9. I heard rumblings that they may bench Bryce Young. Not sure to what end that would be. I don't think it's his fault necessarily. This team pretty much sucks. Dak Prescott had 189 and 2, only 22.6 fantasy points for a 33-point game. I would have expected a bit more, but he's been good again. I'm sure he's top 10. The running backs, we have Tony Pollard finally came alive. He had 12 carries for 61 yards and a touchdown, 4 receptions for 19 yards, so 17 and a half. And my bold prediction is he would be top 12. So I need the running backs in tonight's game to not pass him because he is sitting at 12 right now, and I don't want to be a liar on Fantasy Pros. I looked at him going, damn, he's RB12 right now. And I got to fade Swift and Pacheco today, so let's hope it's a passing game. Rico Dowdle didn't do much, 8 carries for 23 yards. Chuba Hubbard looks like the number one there. They split carries, 10 carries for 57 yards for Hubbard, 2 catches for 8 yards. Miles Sanders had 11 carries for 50 yards and 1 catch for 2 yards. So neither was great. 8.5 for Hubbard, 7.5 for Sanders. Passing game, this was actually a bad game for both of them in comparison to what they'd usually been. CD Lamb failed to hit the record books there, did not hit 100 yards for the first time in what seems like forever. He had 6 catches for 38 yards and a touchdown, so not a great game by his standards. The touchdown saved it. Thielen had 8 for 74, but he didn't hit the touchdown there, so his stat line looks worse than Lamb, despite the fact that he pretty much had a better day. Nobody else did much. Cooks 3 for 42, Gallup 3 for 31, Turpin, a lot of that, I assume this league is including kick returns. Absolutely nothing on the Panthers side of the ball. Jonathan Mingo just is not getting there. Tight ends, we had the touchdown go to Schoonmaker, 2 for 23 and a touchdown for him. Ferguson had 3 for 32, no touchdown. Tommy Trumbull had 1 for 4 and was saved by a touchdown. So a lot of tight ends being saved by touchdowns here. I'm going to switch over quickly because for some reason I always click on my default league that doesn't have kickers in it because it's the smart league. But both kickers were not great. Pinheiro went back to a pumpkin for the first time in like a month. He wasn't one of my starts, and it was a good call. He had 5 points. Aubrey was 2 for 2 on field goals. He put up 8. Nothing great there. The Panthers did not register a stat. Am I reading that correctly? Nothing.
I think they just didn't get any points, yeah.
They got nothing. And Dallas put up 22 on an interception, 10 points allowed, 7 sacks, a forced fumble, a recovery, and a touchdown. As Deron Bland has, 4 pick sixes on the year and is tied for an NFL record. That's how good he is. I know Deron Bland by name, and I do a fair bit of IDP, but I am by no means I could tell you every offensive player on both teams. Defense, I can tell you the ones I really need to know, but that tells you how good he's been. I know him.
Right. It's the IDP life, right? You're like, yep, he's very good. And it checks out. It's like, he's a good player. Yeah. But yeah, this game highlights the discrepancies in talent on both sides of these teams. Like Dallas is one of the better teams in the league. They have the players, they have really good defense. They have all the position players. They have a good quarterback. Carolina, it's Bryce Young and just a shit show. There is nothing. It's awful. I was talking about this earlier this week. I paid a late first for Bryce Young in the Dynasty League because I was desperate at quarterback. And I'm betting on the talent, but man, it's a risky bet right now because he has Thielen, who's the only quality wide receiver on that team. The tight ends are not good. The running backs, neither one of them has been very good. Miles Sanders has just been a disaster. He's slowly working his way back, so he might be playable. But outside of that, it's just Bryce Young. You're counting on him to do so much. I think they had a 17-play drive. That was their touchdown drive. And the announcers were talking about how good that was, when realistically, if that's the only way you can score, it's a disaster because you have to execute every time flawlessly. So, yeah, it's not good for Bryce Young in the short term. Yeah. Long term, you're just hoping they get somebody in there. But, yeah, it's – and Tony Pollard, on the flip side, Tony Pollard finally did what we hoped, right? It's just –
he was going to just absolutely kill Fantasy Pros if he didn't, because I told you their usual bold prediction turned into the Tony Pollard bold prediction because that's what everyone took. But – I love a Dallas-type team for fantasy. High-scoring, good team. Basically, you start Prescott, Pollard, and Lamb, you don't start anyone else unless you're desperate. And then you can start the defense and the kicker most weeks. So I love it. It's a high-scoring team that's absolutely, completely consolidated. This was like back when it was the Rams and it was what? Stafford, Cup, maybe Woods.
And,
did they have a running back at the time? No, that was after Gurley, right?
After Gurley. Yeah, it kind of going in between. They thought
Akers that year? That was the year Akers was good for half a season, right?
Yeah, the end. He came back from the ACL. Yeah. It's interesting with like Carolina. You can really only count on Thielen to be the producer. And now that Wright took the play calling back over, he's back to what he was
actually
before. Like he's the only guy. Like that's it. It's the only guy you can count on Carolina.
Thielen, it's only been this week on my player profiler article that should come out today. He was one of my sells. And I said that if you were able to get a good game out of him, sell, because he has not been good since they came out of the bye. He was at one point, he was in my probably this league here by this scoring. He was wide receiver 6 in this league at some point. Mm-hmm. He is now wide receiver. Oh, it's 10. No, that's not correct.
Yeah, he was. So I'm looking at like in the half point PPR league. He's a wide receiver 11. So he's been okay. It's just been a lot rougher. It's just with Wright taking the play calling back.
Oh, you know what it is? He's dropped to wide receiver 30 in value on KTC.
That's that makes
sense. Why I was saying sell high. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. And like if you don't need the points on a contending team, just like sell him. Get him. Like he's not going to do anything. He's going to have no value in off season. So 100%. Like get rid of him.